your heroes will let you down. Your heroes will let you down. One person that you can switch and change is yourself. Holding yourself accountable. You be your own fucking hero. And what that means is look at yourself in the fucking mirror, and you're not gonna be Tiger Woods. You're not gonna be whoever the fuck else you wanna be. Whoever your hero is, they're gonna let you down. Trust me, they will. We're human beings, and you cannot be them. You're not them. You gotta find your best self. And in doing that, stop reading books about other people. Stop doing this about other people. Spend time with yourself. Spend time with yourself. Create your own super being. Create your own Rocky. Create your own Rambo. Create your own superhero. And what that means is, I'm my own role model. Because when I'm fucked up, I look in the mirror and say, you're fucked up. And we gotta fix this now. I can't call up somebody and say, hey man, you really let me down. So that's how I believe. I believe in being your own hero and also writing your own book. Write your own book. And my big thing is, if you're not changing your life, you're not doing shit with your life. Mm-hmm. And if you were on your deathbed, and let's say you sat down and no one knew who Mark Divine was. No one knew you, but you've been writing a book in this journal right here for the last, let's say you die at 90 years old, and you're in a hospital, and a kid comes in to see Mark Divine. You don't know the kid doesn't know you, just came in to see you. And you gave the kid a fucking book about your life. Would that book change his fucking life for the better? If you can't say that shit, you need to start fucking rewriting another fucking book. You are your own hero. You are your own leader. You are your own master. And that is a big one because we idolize so many people and we want to be them. We want to be someone else. And in doing that, you lose all the potential of who you are. You mimic. You be them. You are them. You become them. And you lose you. And we look up to so many people in this world who will let us down. We're humans. I'm gonna let you down. You're gonna let somebody down. And you put them on a pedestal, you then lose time when that person comes up and lets you down. You must hold yourself accountable and being your own hero. That's what that does. You make yourself so totally accountable for who you are. You focus on you and only on you to become the best person you could be for others. Because we leave a lot on the table, not searching who we are. And then therefore, you die not knowing your greatest potential. You have to make a list of the things that you don't like to do. This list should be very long. If you don't like making calls, the very first thing you should do is start making a shit ton of fucking calls. Because why? That begins to own you.
Yes.
You start to drive yourself this way versus this way.
Yes.
But you'll figure out, if you start making a whole bunch of fucking calls, if you like calling, call a lot.
Yeah.
Guess what happens? You get over it. So what we do a lot is, I heard a lot of people say, triple down on this, triple down on most of your strength. Yeah. No. That works for a lot of things, but when you're afraid and you don't have the courage, you have to triple down on your weaknesses and make that become where you start to guide yourself. Okay, I don't like calling. Today I'm making 100 calls.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dial 100 times. When I was younger, life and society made this big world with all these endless fucking possibilities. Endless possibilities. My life made my possibilities this fucking big.
Yeah.
Because it made me afraid of all these different things. So all this stuff trapped my mind, it shackled my brain, it made me a prisoner within my own self, saying, this is all I can do. Because why? I'm afraid of this, I'm insecure over here, I got self-doubt over here, that behind me, good Lord, who knows what's behind me? I'm like, look behind me. So your life is this big. Versus it being like, I can do all this shit out here if I start to break down these these different walls and barriers. And that's what I started realizing. I could become a Navy SEAL. I could become this, but I was afraid of the water. Think about this. Why the fuck are you gonna go be a Navy SEAL when all you do is play in the water? And we don't play, we're in it and we're living in it. The ocean.
You're swimming for
That's
miles.
right, the ocean is unforgiving.
Yep.
So my mind is, I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL. If I didn't face that fear, no one would ever know me. I was number 3 behind Michelle Obama for a long time until my book sold out. And I was a guy just 21 years ago who was 300 pounds, could barely read and write, and now I have a book just 2 spots behind Michelle Obama, just because I was afraid. But you overcome those fears, guess what happens? The whole world, you unlock this door and everything opens back up again.
King Arthur and his knights are all sitting around a round table, which implies that they're of equal stature, essentially. And they go off to look for the Holy Grail, which is the container of that which redeems. It's something like that. But of course, who the hell knows where to look for the Holy Grail? So each of the knights decides to enter the forest at the point that looks darkest to him. Right, and that's a hell of a story, because first of all, it shows that courage is the first requirement, right? Because you look for what's darkest and you go in there. That's part of, Jung developed that idea quite substantially with regards to his notion of the shadow. And it's also, I think it's also what makes this believable for people, because the alternative is something like, look for happiness. And everyone thinks, well, I'd rather be happy than miserable, and like, fair enough, but there's nothing about that has any nobility. And it's not believable. No one believes that, because everyone knows that life is bounded by tragedy and that malevolence abounds. Everyone knows that. So, and you say, so there's that terrible dark dyad of tragedy and evil, and you wave the little flag of happiness in front of it. It's like, no one believes that will work. But then when you tell people, look, you're dark, you're a monster, you really are, but that's actually useful, because you cannot survive the world without being a monster. To be good, I don't have to be a neutered tomcat. To be good, I can be a monster, but I can be like a civilized monster. It's like, yeah, that's what you should aim at. You should be unbelievably dangerous. The more dangerous you are, the better. And then you should control that. Because Nietzsche pointed out that most of what passes for morality is just obedient cowardice. Yeah. So I'm an obedient coward. Well, no one wants to think that. So they say, well, no, I'm not an obedient coward. I'm a good person because I don't break any rules. It's like, no, you're not. You're an obedient coward, and you're too afraid to break the rules. That doesn't make you good. It also accounts for why the dark hero, the anti-hero, is so popular in cinematic representations in particular, because people go and watch the mafia hitmen and guys like that, and they, there's a dark part of them that thinks, wow, those guys are really cool. Like movies like Quentin Tarantino's movies, where the hitmen are wisecracking and they're tough and they can handle everything, and you think, well, these guys are psychopathic criminals. Why are people looking up to them? It's because, well, you're not moral if you're just harmless. And the question is, well, what's the antidote to being harmless? And the antidote to that is to open up that doorway into the shadow, and then you could become that, right? There's that gleeful, predatory victory that's part of that. I read this interesting commentary a little while ago on a statement by Christ in the New Testament, and the statement generally interpreted is that the meek shall inherit the earth, but I was looking up the multiple translations of the word meek, and meek is actually derived from a Greek word, of course, because the Bible, at least some of the original forms of the Bible, were in Greek, and that word didn't exactly mean meek. It meant something like those who have weapons and the ability to use them, but determined to keep them sheathed, will inherit the world. And that means that people who are capable of force, let's say, but decide not to use it, are in the proper moral position. Part of spiritual development is to recognize the satanic tendencies that characterize you, and to fully wrestle with them, and to integrate them. That's the thing. It's not so much to cast them away, it's to transmute them. And you can see the difference between people who've done that and people who haven't, at least to some degree, because people who haven't integrated the shadow at all are naive. And you can tell that when you look at them, and you can tell that when you talk to them. And because they're naive, they're often resentful as well, because they get taken advantage of. And someone who's integrated that more, they're dangerous in the martial arts sort of way, which is they're dangerous, but they don't have to use it, because their presence radiates the potential for havoc. That's the right way of thinking about it. The hero has to be a monster, but a controlled monster.